In today's Adobe Illustrator tutorial, you will learn how to use Pen tool. You will see tips that will make using of Pen tool easy and fast for you. After this tutorial, you will understand how to work with Direct Selection tool to edit anchor points and how to create any kinds of shapes with Pen tool. You're watching TNT tutorials. Let's move on and create a new document. Select Print, A4, Horizontal Orientation. In Advanced Options, select RGB and click on Create. You can download this reference and sketch by the link in the video description. You can also download color swatches. I recommend you to do that. Go to Swatches, click here on Swatch Libraries menu, select Other Library, and find path to download the swatches. Then you will see this window. Just click on this folder, and you will have it here. To have all these color icons as large as I do, just click on this little menu and select Medium or Large Thumbnail View. Let's close this window, and let's select all these colors and delete them. We can delete these two, so we have them, and we have only needed colors. So let's begin. Create new layer. Sketch layer should be on top. Let's rename this layer to number 1. Now select Sketch layer, just click here, Properties, and decrease opacity to something like this. I will decrease it to 45%. Now let's lock this layer. Select layer number 1, select Fill Color icon, click here on None. Now select Stroke, Swatches, and pick this color. P for Pen tool. Now what options do you have to build such shape? Of course you can drag handles like this, build curved line like so, then continue, but you have better option. For this case, let's delete this line. You can simply create lines like this. Just click on each curve that you see, like so. Let's connect these ones. Now withhold it Alt. You can drag these handles like so. If you will drag them wrong like this, that's not a big deal. Just change direction like so and continue. Let's create line like this. Then the same here. After you applied this curveness, you can pick A for Direct Selection tool, pick any point you want, move it like so, and change handle's direction. For this object, we are building curved lines, but if you would like to make sharp corner here, for example, just hold Alt and move this handle like so. Also, when you have corners like this, you always have such dots. You can drag it like this and get this curve. I will press Ctrl Z to undo, P for Pen tool, hold Alt, and just continue to make curved lines, like so. If they are not ideal, you will be able to fix them with Direct Selection tool a little bit later. As you can see, I'm not wasting too much time for setting up these points. What I want to do right now is to make curved lines, that's all. Now A for Direct Selection tool, and play with handles just to match reference. When you see that you obviously have unnecessary points, you should delete them, because when you're deleting them, you have better control on each line you create. P for Pen tool, and simply click on this point. Then A for Direct Selection tool, drag handle like so. Don't be afraid to move handles even like this. You can change handles proportions. And move other points. Like so. So basically what you need is more practicing. Very soon you will see that you really don't need many points to build any shape you want. If you want to match reference 100% and you're not happy with this smooth line, here's how you can fix it. Just try to fix it with as less points as you have, and then if you see that you really need to add points, select line, P for pen tool, and simply click on line. Maybe you would like to change shape like this. Then you will need some additional point. I'll press Ctrl Z and I will simply fix these points. I'm just using direct selection tool here. Direct selection tool is all that you need to work with handles and anchor points. Let's continue. P for pen tool. Let's just start to draw this soft line. Just drag this point a little bit, like so. Then let's create another point here. Drag it like this. And then basically we will need only one point here. And in such cases, you might think that you will drag this point and you will have something like this. But basically this happens only when you are using pen tool incorrect. So, what you want to do in this case? Hold space for hand tool. Just move like this and release it. Then you don't need to drag these handles like so. Just drag them a little bit like this. Then hold Alt and drag this handle as you want. Then, if you are not happy with positioning of this point, A for direct selection tool, pick this point and move it anywhere you want to. Then play with handles. Now, to build these lines, let's pick pen tool and just simply create lines like this. Click here and then here. Then, to stop drawing line, press Ctrl and click somewhere. With this tip, you'll be able to quickly create different lines without any other manipulation like this. You might want to pick V for selection tool, then deselect this line, then P for pen tool and continue. As you can see, you can do it much faster. Just create lines, then Ctrl, click somewhere and continue. Now let's create some background. Create new layer, rename it to background, swatches, with stroke selected. Click here on none. Switch to fill, pick this color, M for rectangle tool, draw rectangle like this, and lock this layer. I will make sketch layer invisible for now. Select our number one layer. Let's select all these objects, deselect this one, swatches, select stroke here, and apply this color. Now what you might want to change? Properties, stroke, and you can change it to round cap. To make this line look more interesting, just select it and press Shift plus W for width tool. It's over here. Now just move to this point and drag it like so. As you can see, you can play with width of this line in any point that you will choose. We're playing with this point for now. I will leave this width, I think. Then you can click on any part you want and change width, like this. I will press Ctrl Z. Let's move to this point, Shift plus W for width tool. And let's make line here even thinner, like this. Now we have some really interesting look. And what else I wanted to show you about width tool is that you can select line. Let's change it like this. and let's change it here. Now you have very many lines, and you want to apply this effect to all of them. You don't need to pick Width tool and apply it to each one of these lines. All you need to do is to open this layer group, and as you can see, we've applied Width tool to this layer also. And what's the difference between these two layers and all others? Is that this dot is filled. You can see that all other dots are empty. So if we need to copy effect from this layer, for example, all you need to do is to hold Alt and drag this point to other layer, like so. As you can see, this effect applied here. Let me show you better. Now let's hold Alt and drag from this point to this. Now it changed here. So let's just change width for all lines. And as you can see, we applied very interesting effect in just few clicks. What we want to do now is to select this layer and click here to swap fill and stroke. Now I will make background layer invisible, this object also, and I will make sketchy layer visible. Let's create new layer and rename it to number 2. Let's swap fill and stroke, P for pen tool, and now let's create this object. My personal advice for any object that you will create is just don't start to create objects like this by clicking here and then you start to draw line. I will delete this line. Try always to drag point like this, so handles would already have some direction, and then create line. You can sometimes start to create lines with simple clicking, but you should definitely work more, gain experience, and see in which cases you can do that or in which cases you can do that. So my personal advice is to start to draw lines like this. Now let's just click here, drag these handles just a bit, and if you want to make sure that these handles are straight, just hold Shift and drag them like so. Now they are straight. Then hold Alt and move this handle like this. As we want sharp corner here, and obviously pen tool is creating soft line, we should simply hold Alt and drag handle like this from this point. Then obviously it's not handy for us to create line with this zoom in, so we are zooming out, P for pen tool. We want to continue this line, but we can't do that. So let's delete this point. You will need to hold Alt, drag handle from this point again, and then you will be able to continue. Now when you're closing path, if you want to make sharp corner here, you don't want to connect it like so. If you connected points like so, and you want sharp corner, you need to hold Alt and click on this point. After this, you won't have handles here to manipulate. So what you would like to do is to hold Alt, simply drag these handles from this point, then A for direct selection tool. I will show you correct way to close path if you want to have sharp corner. Let's press Ctrl Z. Just hold Alt and connect these points like so. Then A for direct selection tool and manipulate handles. If you have some sharp corner, here for example, but you want to make it smooth, you don't need to try to match these handles to make soft line. All you need to do is to pick this point, Properties, and select Convert selected anchor points to smooth. And that's it. Now you can manipulate these handles and you have smooth line. Now to cut these parts from this object, all you need to do is to pick Pen tool, create such lines, Control, click somewhere, Then V for Selection tool, select these objects, Shift+M for Shape Builder, hold Alt and just click here to delete unnecessary part. Now with holded Alt, you can also delete these lines. What you should know about this method is that when you're deselecting this object, you should also delete this part, because Shape Builder created object here, so just delete it. Let's do the same here. Let's select all objects, Shift+M for Shape Builder. You can also drag Shape Builder like so. Delete everything that is unnecessary. Deselect this object, select these two objects and delete them. Now let's create line here. You can create it like this. Let's press Ctrl, click somewhere. Now with this line deselected and with active pen tool, you can hold Alt and just drag this line like this. As you can see, you can drag it any way you want to. And you can drag it like this. Then to make smooth line here, hold Alt and just drag these handles. Then A for Direct Selection tool. If you want this point to match this line, just pick this point with Direct Selection tool and move it here. Now with Pen tool, let's simply create straight lines here. Press Ctrl to deselect line, create another one. As you can see, Pen tool is really fast in using. Now with this tip, it will be even faster for you. Without selecting anything, you just need to hold Alt and change curveness of each of these lines. Like this. Now let's make background visible, sketch layer invisible. Let's select all layers, deselect this one, swatches. Let's select stroke and let's pick this color. Now let's select all these lines, properties, stroke. Let's select round join and round cap. As you can see, we have all rounded. Now let's pick width tool and play with this line. Let's make it thinner here. And now you already know that you are changing width for this line only, like so. Layers, open layers group. You see this filled dot here, just hold Alt and duplicate this effect to all other lines. Alright, now let's make these layers invisible, background layer invisible also, and let's make sketch layer visible again. Create new layer, number 3, swatches. Let's pick this color. And now, as you already know, you have 3 options to build this line. First option. You can create lines like this, hold Alt, and just move handles like so. Then just pick A for Direct Selection tool and make everything work for you. Then second way, let's delete this line. Second way is you creating the same lines. You hold Alt and you're picking lines, but not points. Like so. I think in this case, this method just doesn't work very well, because we will need to move handles. and then as usual play with direct selection tool and with handles. But as you can see, we almost get what we wanted. So you just need more experience with using these methods, and you will see where and when to use each one of them better. Let's delete this one, and I will show you third way. Third way is old school method. You're simply creating lines like this. What I should tell about this method is that you definitely should practice it very often, because this is how you will master pen tool. Now let me show you a case when you want to create object here and you need to start to draw from this line, but if you will start to draw from this line, you will connect new line to this point, and you don't want this. So just start to create new object from somewhere here or from somewhere here, just to avoid clicking on this point. Later you will be able to move it with direct selection tool. Now, to make sharp corner, hold Alt and just connect these points. Now A for direct selection tool, pick this point and move it right here. Now these points are in the same place, but they are not connected. Now play with proportions of this shape. For this case, you definitely don't need more points than 2. If you have smooth angle here, and you just can't make sharp corner from it, you can hold Alt, move handles like so, or select this point and click here. Convert selected anchor points to corner. First method was much better, because with this method you should pick P for pen tool, hold Alt, then drag handles like so, A for direct selection tool, hold Alt, and do the same as in first method. So let's continue with these ones. Just start to build line from here, then click here. You can drag these handles just a bit. This way is even better. Then hold Alt, drag handles as you want. Don't forget to hold space to navigate. Then you're releasing space and you're ready to work again. Then hold Alt, connect these points. Don't drag this handle too much. A for direct selection tool, and move it as you need to. Now here, you want to have smooth line, but you have sharp corner here. So what you want is to click here to convert this point to smooth. Let's just create all these objects as previous one. You might want to copy all these objects, but you definitely should create them all, because first of all, they will look like live drawn, something like handmade, and when you will copy these objects, they will just lose this live effect. So in this case, each shape should be some kind of unique. It should not be too different than all others, but everyone will see that these objects are not copied. Let's create these two. Now let's make background visible, these two layers also. Let's make sketch layer invisible. Select this line, swatches, apply this color. Now select all objects, deselect this one, apply this color for strokes, then select fill color icon and apply this color. Alright. In conclusion, I would say that to use pen tool quickly and correctly, you only need to practice and follow tips from this video. Don't create too many points and keep lines that you create with pen tool simple. If you learned something new from this tutorial, drop a comment below. Let me know if everything was clear enough for you and what you liked about this video. If you enjoyed this tutorial, support this channel by clicking on subscribe, and what's most important, by clicking on the bell icon to get notifications about newest tutorials from TNT. I would also appreciate if you'll click thumbs up and will share this video. This was TNT Tutorials. See you in next videos!